Brant has been one of the most anticipated characters to pull for in Wuthering Waves, and he is finally here. So if you've been looking for a Brant guide that covers everything you need to know, I got you. For Brant's combat roles, he falls under support and healer with having higher basic attack damage and also the fusion and resonance skill damage amplification on outro. And here are all the materials you're going to need to get him up to max level. For what skills prioritize upgrading on Brant first, definitely his Forte Circuit, then your Resonance Separation, then you can do your normal attack and resonance skill evenly, then lastly, your intro skill. And here are all the materials you're going to need to upgrade all of these skills. For Brant's weapon options, I would highly recommend pulling for his signature sword, Unflickering Valor. Now, if you don't have a sword, we do have two other 5-star options. The first one being Red Spring, which is Camellia's signature, and the other 5-star sword would be the standard Emerald of Genesis. If you don't have any 5-star swords, don't worry, there are a couple of 4-star ones you can use. If you're going to be using him as a main DPS, I would recommend 5-piece Tide Breaking Courage. For your Echo main stats, you're going to want the Dragon of Dirge at your 4 cost with either crit rate if you have him S1 or below, or crit damage if you have him S2 or above. For your 2-3 cost echoes, you definitely want one with energy regen, but your other one can be fusion or energy regen depending on your substats, and for your 2-1 cost, you definitely want attack percentage. If you want to use them as a strictly sub DPS option, you can do 5-piece Moonlit Clouds. For your echo main stats, at your 4 cost echo, you're going to want to use the Impermanence Heron with either crit rate or crit damage as your main stat. For your 2-3 cost, against the same thing, one with energy regen and the other with either fusion or energy regen, and for your 2-1 cost, attack percentage. For your echo substats, we're obviously looking for crit rate and crit damage. Next would be energy regen. Like I said, we want to land between the 250% and the 280% range. And number 3, basic attack damage, attack percentage, and flat attack. For Brant's best team options, if you're free to play, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of great options, but you could pair them up with main DPSs like Chishia and even Havoc Rover, and then having your healers be Baizha or Verena. For his premium double DPS team, like I said, he pairs extremely well with Chun-Li and Shorekeeper. If you want to use Brant strictly as a main DPS, again, replacing Chun-Li with Sanhua and then having Shorekeeper as your healer is a decent option. And lastly, Brant specifically as a sub DPS, pairing him up with Carlotta and Shorekeeper is going to be pretty good. The last thing I want to talk about is Brant's resonance chain and whether it's worth getting multiple copies of him. Overall, I'd say his S1 and S2 are very much worth it, and then after that, if you want to go all the way to S6, go for it. The S1 giving a stacking damage percentage bonus just by using your mid-air attack flips is kind of insane, and then S2 not only giving the crit rate increase, which is really good, 30% is crazy, but also allowing him to deal damage off field when a character uses a resonance skill is kind of crazy. Let me know in the comments how your Brant pulls are going. I already saw someone in my community get like 2 of them in the same 10 pull, and I'm like, you are the luckiest person on earth, because that's never going to happen to me.